Mike Miske wants to hire me to kill Johnny Fraser. They tortured him. Like it's a game. When they offer me that money, what I supposed to do is go to that hospital and grab that boy. I know I could have saved him. That's the only thing I did wrong. That's the only weight I get on my shoulders.
I knew that my son didn't just fall off the face of the earth and disappear. I knew that he didn't have some mental problem. I knew that someone took him. I want to believe that he's going to come home. But in my heart, I know my son ain't going to physically walk through my door. I know I'm never going to hear his voice or physically hug him and hold him again. Please have a heart and tell us where Johnny is.
I'm very glad that Johnny got justice in court today. Before our family, nothing brings him back.
Some people don't vanish, they're taken, and sometimes justice comes, but the person never comes home. This is the story of Jonathan Fraser, missing since 2016, and even after the trials, convictions, and prison sentences, his body has never been found. Jonathan Fraser, missing since 2016, justice, loss, and a case that refuses to end. Jonathan Fraser was born on May 11, 1995. He was quiet, mellow, kind, the kind of person his mom described as a friend to everyone. He had brown hair, hazel eyes, and scars on his face and leg from a serious car accident the year before he disappeared. Jonathan also had a medical condition that required daily medication, and he had something else: hope. He was in love with his girlfriend, Ashley Wong, and she was pregnant with their baby. He was recovering, looking forward, planning a future. In November 2015, Jonathan was involved in a serious car accident with his close friend, Michael Miske Jr. Caleb later died from complications related to his injuries. Caleb was the son of Honolulu businessman Michael John Miske Jr. Although records and witnesses identified Caleb as the driver, Miske blamed Jonathan for his son's death. Federal investigators later said they believed this anger became the motive for what happened next. Jonathan was last seen on the morning of July 30th, 2016, at his apartment in the Hawaii Kai area of Honolulu. After that, nothing. No calls, no texts, no sightings. 9 days later, his car was found parked near Summer Street and Kuli'o'o Road. The car was there. Jonathan was not. Because of his medical condition and the circumstances of his disappearance, his case was classified as endangered missing. The FBI later offered a reward for information leading to the arrest of those responsible. But for years, there were no answers. In 2017, federal authorities arrested Michael Miske and several other associates. Prosecutors said Miske was running a criminal enterprise in Hawaii, involved in drug trafficking, extortion, kidnapping, and murder for hire. They said his pest control business and other companies were used as fronts. And one of the most serious allegations was that Jonathan Fraser was kidnapped and murdered as part of that enterprise. In August 2017, the FBI searched a long boat named Painkiller. They seized more than 100 pieces of evidence, navigation equipment, filters, sponges, knives, and even part of the blige pump. Prosecutors believe the boat was used in Jonathan's murder and possibly to dispose of his body at sea. But to this day, Jonathan has never been found. In 2024, Jonathan's girlfriend, Ashley Wong, took the stand. She told the jury that after Caleb's death, Miske had provided them with housing and a car. What felt like help now felt like control. On the day Jonathan disappeared, Miske sent Ashley and Caleb's wife on a spa day. Ashley testified that she now believes it was meant to get her out of the apartment. When she couldn't reach Jonathan and her friends couldn't find him, she believed instantly he had been taken. That night, she drove to Miske's house. It was dark, empty. When she called him, he claimed he was home. She didn't believe him. After she started posting online asking for help, she said Miske sent her an all-caps message, warning her to stop saying his son had been the driver. She said she felt threatened, and shortly after Jonathan vanished, she was told to leave the apartment. Ashley told the jury Jonathan was not suicidal. He wanted to live. He wanted to be a father. More than 100 previously secret court files were made public in the murder case against Michael Miske. These documents include disturbing allegations about how Jonathan was kidnapped and killed. According to the unsealed records, James Borland Salas told authorities he saw Fraser bound to a plastic garden chair with zip ties and duct tape, badly beaten and bloodied. He said that Miske's associates, Jacob Smith and Lance Bermudez, burned Fraser's feet, hands, and eventually other parts of his body with a propane torch while he was restrained. James later returned to the house days later after the torture and saw a very large pot cooking on the stove with a large bone sticking out, and he believed the bone was human. Because he shared this information with law enforcement, James became a target in jail. While being held at the Oahu Community Correctional Center for unrelated probation violations, he was severely beaten by other inmates who accused him of being a snitch. He was on life support for 2 weeks and was eventually taken home where he died. His mother later said he knew he was a walking dead man before the attack, and that the assault was retaliation for cooperating with authorities. Miske's attorney argued there was no direct forensic evidence linking him to where prosecutors said Jonathan was held or killed. They said no fingerprints or DNA proved his involvement. They focused on attacking witness credibility and portraying him as a businessman and community donor. Miske pleaded not guilty, but prosecutors argued that organized crime cases aren't built on one piece of evidence. They're built on patterns, coordination, and control. After 6 months of testimony and more than 300 witnesses, in July 2024, a federal judge found Michael Miske Jr. guilty on 13 counts including murder, kidnapping, racketeering, conspiracy. He faced mandatory life sentences and was waiting to be formally sentenced. On December 1st, 2024, Miske was found dead in his jail cell. The medical examiner later reported his death was caused by fentanyl and parafentanyl toxicity and appeared accidental. Because he died before sentencing, the court later vacated his conviction under a legal rule that requires cases to end if a defendant dies before a judgment is final. Legally, the case is closed, but for Jonathan's family, nothing felt finished. In 2025, Caleb's widow, Delilah Fabro Miske, was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison for racketeering conspiracy. The judge said her actions showed she knew what she was contributing to when Jonathan was kidnapped and murdered. He cited the apartment arrangement, the disconnected internet, the spa day, and the eviction afterward. Other members of the enterprise have also pleaded guilty. The system kept working, but Jonathan never came home. Jonathan Fraser was not just a case file. He was a son, a partner, an expectant father. Justice may have moved through courtrooms, but his family still has no grave to visit, no remains to hold, no final goodbyes. And until Jonathan is found, the story is not over. If you have any information about Jonathan Fraser's disappearance, please contact law enforcement or the FBI. And if you're watching this tonight, say his name, remember him, because being remembered is sometimes the last form of justice a family has.